Hello guys, welcome back to the Real Housewives, or I'm sorry, welcome back to my channel, The Housewife Historian. You guys can call me Lindsay. Normally I have an intro that plays for you guys prior to my video opening up, but I'm using a new service of StreamYard now, and so I have to figure out how to get my pre-recorded intro over to my lives prior to starting them. So I apologize, guys, that you haven't had an intro in a couple of weeks. Okay, I'm working on it. I got it. I'll get it together. I promise. Today we're going to be talking the Real Housewives of Potomac. I'm so mad because I had a really great recap for last week's episode planned for you guys, and then I didn't have a chance on Monday, I think, to do it. Something happened. I had to record about something else, and so I didn't get a chance to do the actual Potomac review with you guys, and I wish that I would have because we are getting we're getting news. We're getting tea on Juan Dixon and another woman that he may or may not have dated for an entire year. If you want to know more, then you better stay tuned. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, turn your notifications on. It's so important. It makes a huge difference with my videos. If you hit that like button, it definitely helps my video reach other people, and it does just help my channel in general. So if you like the video or the information, just hit the like button. It takes 2 seconds. And then, of course, guys, please comment and let me know what your thoughts are. I love reading your guys' comments. Even if I get behind a day or two, I read every comment. Okay. Okay. I'm not going to drag you guys through an entire video and make you wait on the tea. Okay, I'm going to give it to you right now, and then we can talk about the episode. Social light gossip on Instagram. He has a TikTok too. I'm not sure if he has a YouTube or not. He lives in Maryland. Um, and that's working out really great for him because of the fact that he is working in Maryland. I think this was the account that posted it. I thought. He was living in Maryland and he said it's really paying off for him because of the fact that somebody has reached out to him and alleges that they dated Juan Dixon for an entire year after COVID. I think it was after COVID, during COVID. No, no, no. It was okay. They haven't talked in about a year. And so it was from 21 to 22 is whenever they allegedly dated. Now, this girl has receipts. She has hotel receipts. She has text messages. Now, think about that for 1 second. A woman has come forward anonymously to a big account of a person who lives in Maryland and stated that they dated Juan Dixon for 1 solid year. And they found out that he was just a player, that he was into some, I don't know what the word is. I don't know what he was like into stuff like in the bedroom that she wasn't into, I guess, that she didn't find out about until later, was my assumption. Now, we got all of this in like a 3-minute TikTok, so of course, we're not getting a whole lot of information, obviously, and I'm sure that there's going to be more released a little bit more every day. But here's a couple of pointers. One thing is she has a hotel receipt and she claims that her and Juan Dixon were at this hotel, and his name is on the receipt, and she bleeped out her information, I think. I was trying to find the original video for you guys. Okay, so we have that. She also claimed that Robyn Dixon knew, allegedly, of course, everything in this video is alleged, allegedly knew about their relationship, and that all she really asked of the woman was, please don't bring it to the press. We really don't want you to bring it to the press, please. Please, please, please. Um, Sorry, I'm just reading this because US Magazine this is coming at a rare timing because of the fact that people have really been going hard at Robyn, and we're all trying to figure out, like, did they get married? Did they not get married? Like, she said they were going to get married when they went for his brother-in-law's what? Somebody distant but family that's getting married in Jamaica. Family enough that they invited Juan and Robin, but not family enough that you wouldn't get married the day after their wedding on their tropical vacation. But whatevs, to each their own. But that's what a lot of folks were saying. They didn't think it was in very good taste that Robin and Juan would go to Jamaica for a friend or family's wedding and then get married themselves the next day, even if it is just them and their kids. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that that is okay to do? Would you be okay if that was like your family? Um, I mean, obviously, yes, they've been married before. Obviously, yes, they operate as a household of mom and dad and the kids. But I don't know. Like, can't y'all go somewhere? Just all four of you and get married by yourselves? Like, why don't y'all go to the Chesapeake Bay then and bring the boys and get married? Like, y'all are really gonna fly to Jamaica for somebody else's wedding and then get married the day after their wedding? That doesn't sound in good taste. Second, second thing. Do you guys remember the dress that Robin wore in her confessional? It went around her neck. It was like a Hollister kind of, and it was like brightly colored. Um, it was her confessional. She wore the dress to this Jamaica wedding that we're seeing pictures of that was not her wedding, which was a family member's wedding. Um, and it was not the complex. This I think Robin has the best confessional look she ever had was that blonde or the yellow dress that came up the shoulder. She had her hair blonde and it was like in a bun. She looked amazing. She is a hit or miss sometimes, and lately it's been more of a miss than a hit. She needs to clean up. You're on the Real Housewives. You got to clean up, sissy. Clean up. Clean up. Hold on. I'm trying to find it. Anyways, she wears the confessional dress to Jamaica, and these pictures pop up of her and Juan and the kids in Jamaica. And so it has everyone asking, did you guys get married or not? What's the deal? Obviously, there's no like wedding certificates out there because nobody's come up with it. None of us thought that they got married, but it's coming out now that they officially are married again. And it's coming out. People Magazine just posted an article 2 days ago titled Robyn Dixon and Juan Dixon are married again, Real Housewives of Potomac to air surprise wedding in season 7 finale. Except there were no cameras there. Air what wedding? You're gonna give us some pictures? Thanks. I mean, all this time you've dragged your audience along and your fans along for this ride with Juan, okay? I mean, if you guys remember when they got engaged, Wendy Ossofer was cheering so loud for Robyn. Like the women were really genuinely happy for her, right? Because we all kind of thought she was in a legitimate relationship with a man whom, yes, they had been married, had kids, both made mistakes, lived separately and had came back together for their family, for each other, for whatever reasons. And we were rooting for them, right? But then every season we kept getting drug along over this wedding. The first season after they got engaged, we heard about the wedding, we heard about it the next season. And all we've ever done is really hear about this wedding. And we know that Robyn has kind of drug us along for that timeline through the seasons. And so it seems like a real disservice to her own fans and followers and people who stand her, if they exist, because what they want to see a wedding. I'm surprised Bravo wasn't like, uh, 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 uh. Like, if y'all want to do something small, that's fine, but like, we're filming it. But when they went on Jamaica for a family wedding, the next day, they get married. Here's our next question. Are they actually married? Okay, this is a lot like Marisol Patton's because they got married in another country. So if they don't formally have that shit done when they get back into the US, they're not legally married. And I'm going to tell you why they don't want to be legally married because Juan Dixon just got hit with that civil suit. The civil suit from the kid who was catfished by the coach for 2 years and had and posted sexually explicit videos and audio and photos of this young man in college, um, a freshman in college, and Juan Dixon was made aware about it and made no sort of complaints, no filed nothing official, took no chain of command. He basically did nothing, and they allowed this. I'm going to call this coach a predator. He had mental health issues according to the school, but they still allowed him to take a position of authority within the school and the school basketball. This young man was scared he was going to lose his scholarship for basketball if he said anything. And when he did eventually say something, he did lose his scholarship 2 years later. This went on for almost 2 years. This coach posed as a female online, going back and forth with the student. Student was new to the area. He was there on a basketball scholarship. You know, people were dating online. This is where during COVID, we have to remember, people were stuck in their houses. They didn't go out and meet people. They were dating online. That's all they had. And allegedly had him sending explicit video and audio, and then wanted him to take part in a relationship with the coach and film it and send it to this woman. Um, the coach came to him and said, I'm being blackmailed by this woman too, even though he was really the person doing the blackmailing. And so, in order to get that young man to take part in sexual activities with him and record it, he came up with the lie that the person that is blackmailing both of them wants both of them to do this and film it, and then she'll stop and she won't release all the other stuff. And so, sadly, the man does it. So, this was a pretty serious thing that took place within the college. And again, this wasn't with another student, guys. The predator, the alleged predator, was the coach at this school. And so, once authorities, such as Juan Dixon himself, was made aware of the details and the situation of these circumstances, he just let the guy stay on the team and keep coaching. And he didn't say anything to anyone. And so that's why he's named in this lawsuit. But that's likely why. I'm going to tell you guys ahead of time, and you can say that you heard it here first. I'm going to bet my checking account that they didn't get married officially in the US. They didn't file an actual legal marriage certificate. And I'm going to do some digging after this video and let you guys know what I come up with. But I'm telling you now, they ain't officially married. They did a marriage ceremony in Jamaica. That's what they did, just like Marisol and her husband did wherever they were on vacation. But they didn't come back into the US and file it legally. Let that sit with you for a second. You guys have been putting off this wedding for years, and you finally do get married at somebody else's wedding, and then you don't even come back and file it. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I don't know. I want to know what you guys think. And again, this is really crazy timing that this woman would be coming out and reaching out to say, hey, this happened. Because, like I said, 2 days ago, People magazine came out with the headlines: Robyn and Juan Dixon are married in Jamaica. Hold on one second. I want to find the guy that she came out to. Um, I think I could find it on my TikTok. Let's see. Urban Magazine's picked up on it. I wonder if they give credit to the content creator who said it. Of course they freaking didn't. Oh, yes. Okay, here we go. Here we go. I found him. Blogger Georgio. That's what his name is. So you guys know. Georgio. Blogger Georgio. He has, he's on Instagram, but he's on TikTok too. Um, I'm going to read you the headlines. Woman comes forward with messy accusations about Juan Dixon among wedding news. Karen's allegations about Robyn and Juan Dixon have become a hot topic on social media. The Real Housewives of Potomac star Robyn Dixon has been a hot topic in the headlines thanks to the recent episode, as we reported Robyn's feud with Karen Huger has worsened. On recent episode, Karen admitted that it bothered her when Robyn accused her of being fake. She felt like that was really rich coming from Robyn for her character and reputation. So she decided it was time to take the gloves off. Karen clapped back by calling Juan and Robyn's wedding fake. This came after Robyn confirmed that she and Juan decided to tie the knot privately a day after her brother-in-law marries. How do you have a brother-in-law? Isn't your brother-in-law supposed to be married to your sister? At the time, Juan and Robin only wanted their two sons and a witness on their big day. Karen said it sounded fishy, and she went to allege that Robin and Juan aren't in a real relationship. She also alleged that Juan had a girlfriend whom other people also had heard about, including Robin. This is what Karen said. Karen said all of this while they were filming 6 months ago, a year ago. I mean, how long has filming been? Because Karen said, what were the rumors? She said about this woman. She said that the woman, everyone knew. She said Robin knew, and she said that the lady they'd been dating for a long time, and that they would walk around holding hands in Georgetown. So it's really wild that this woman is coming out and she's saying Robin knew, and she's saying, I dated him for a year. Anyways, let me get on with this. Robyn denied ever hearing a rumor, but Candace Dillard Bassett and Wendy Ostafo both said they've heard the same rumor, and blogs have reported it too. Karen alleged that Juan has been with this supposed woman for years. Well, hours ago, it was reported. Sorry, my computer. It was reported Juan and Robyn have since tied the knot. Real Housewives of Potomac fans will even see footage. I don't think we're going to see footage. I think we're going to see photos from the private wedding during the upcoming season finale. Robyn also talked about it at the reunion, which was filmed last Thursday. Interestingly enough, the drama isn't slowing down, even though Robyn and Juan reportedly married. Apparently, a woman has since come forward claiming that she allegedly had an affair with Juan amid the pandemic. Blogger Georgio says the story on TikTok. He claims a woman reached out to him recently. He said, I quote, I guess living in Maryland helps because been reached out to by someone who allegedly dated Juan at the end of COVID last year. Let's talk about it. Quote, she did mention that Robyn does know, but asked her not to make it publicly, obviously. The woman alleged the last text message she received from Juan took place in January of 2022. Quote, she also shared a hotel invoice, which I've taken out the personal information because it did have Juan's personal information, so I took that all out, but everything else here is pretty much a normal invoice. This is a real hotel in Maryland, and I believe she was going to send this to producers, but I think she just didn't want to get caught in the crossfire because obviously Robyn knows this and didn't want it public. But it appears Juan allegedly was doing some weird things, Georgio says. The blogger went on to allege that the woman did explain she allegedly stopped communication. Quote, she also claimed that the reason that she stopped messing around with him was because he likes to, I guess, meet other girls and I guess have his way with them, but then pass them off to his friends. He, this article doesn't say it, but at the end of his TikTok, he says that she's in a hotel room, the girlfriend, and one of the friends of Juan comes and knocks on the door and says something like, um, I don't know, like what he said, but it basically was the implication of like, girl, me and you gonna get it on with him. I don't know, is that a train? Is two guys a train? I don't know what that is. It might be a threesome, but it might be a train. I don't know. Whatever the case may be. It basically, the man came to her hotel room, knocked on the door, and was thinking like he already had it in his head, like this was what they were doing. And so she felt, I think, nervous, and uncomfortable and scared. And this basically was the end of their relationship. So it makes me wonder, was this really your first like rodeo like this? Were you guys already doing freaky things and then he thought you were cool bringing in a dude and you weren't, maybe? I don't know. It's all a little sketchy to me. Um, she said she was going to go to producers but didn't want to get caught in the crossfire, and Robyn had asked her not to go to producers. But to me, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense because you're coming out now to a blogger. So unless if she's really going to 100% remain anonymous and not come out and not do any interviews, podcasts, whatever, then okay, I get it. Then I'll believe it. But if you're going to not give it to the producers on the show, but then you're going to all of a sudden when this wedding news comes out, you're going to go to a blogger with it. And then if she eventually comes out and says who she is, then I feel like I would be forced to think it was complete bullshit because why wouldn't you go to producers? Because Robin's gonna know regardless that it was you that told. Who else would it be? Unless if he had another girlfriend while he was dating her and Robin knows that and the lady knows there's so many of them that Robin could easily be not pinpoint who the exact woman was because there's so many of them. I mean, that's the only reason why, if she really is going to plan on remaining anonymous and like denying it in case Robin or Juan ever said something to her, if they were out in public and ran into each other or something along those lines. But she even shares a text message. So obviously, he's going to recognize the text message and be able to pinpoint who it is who's talking to the press and the bloggers, right? I don't know. It's all a little bit fishy to me. Um, but I want to know what you guys think, of course. Also, guys, a lot of people bringing up the scene where Robin calls Juan and says, Karen is saying that you're cheating, and you know, she said you're walking around Georgetown with this woman, yada yada yada, and people are really speculating on the way that Juan Dixon reacted to the call, knowing that they were filming and that she was in Mexico. He literally flips out. He's screaming. He says, let me see here. Quote, Karen don't know me. You know me. I don't go out. I'm nowhere in effing DC. Tell them to cut this bullshit out. I'm going to cuss one of them the effing women out, Robin. Ashley then chimes in, asks Juan to stop yelling at Robin. Juan responds by hanging up on Robin, which some fans enjoy seeing live. However, Robin seems to believe Karen is the one in trouble, as she said Karen shouldn't have opened this can of worms. Although many are buying Juan isn't cheating on Robin, we'll play the devil's advocate for a bit. Juan and Robin have never shied away from sharing their issues on The Real Housewives of Potomac. From their financial woes till their 2012 divorce. Well, they really had no choice about the financial woes. They were living in a townhouse and they couldn't really lie about that, could they? I mean, I'm just saying. Then they built a house. We weren't around for the 2012 divorce, so they could be telling us however they want to tell us. We don't really know, and we do know that Robin's kind of told us a little bit more every season until she finally told us the whole story, which was basically Juan had a best friend. Allegedly, Robin and the best friend were getting the hanky panky on, and allegedly the best friend was stealing their money while he was stealing Juan's money while he was sleeping with Juan's girl. And then allegedly, after all of this happened, everything transpired. They realized the money was missing. The man actually unalived himself. Um, and so probably I would say because he didn't want to go to jail, he's probably going to get caught, you know. But there's probably other issues there that we aren't aware of. But regardless, that's very tragic. We don't want to hear of anyone, unaliving themselves, whether it's over a divorce or money. It's never worth it. But in this situation, Robin sort of gave us a little bit each time. She didn't really come out directly and tell us what happened. We were always kind of left speculating at first, like, well, the guy was a best friend and he took all of their money. And then it was, you know, we heard a little bit more until we finally got the story. Um, and she had always alleged that Juan was unfaithful. If you guys will remember, even in this article, after 9 years of marriage, Robin filed for divorce when she discovered Juan was unfaithful. In 2009, he began a relationship with Chris Sanchez, a woman he described as the love of my life. her the diamond back. On Potomac, Juan said Chris provided something gravely missing from his and Robin's marriage. I think Robin eventually put up a wall and then just didn't give what I felt like I needed from the marriage, so therefore I got it elsewhere. Juan ultimately ended him and Chris's relationship and found his way back to Robin. Although Robin admitted their financial troubles and having to support one another for the sake of your kids brought them back together, the couple is seemingly willing to make their second marriage work. Just don't ask them about their actual wedding date. So that was obviously an older article. Um, I don't know, guys. Let's look up Chris Sanchez. She must not have really been famous because hold on, I just came across something interesting. Hmm, After season two, okay, hold on. I want to read this to you guys. This was from November of 2021, and this is under a category of accurate facts about Ashley and Robin from public records. Right before the show started in 2016, there was an article about Michael's girlfriend and how she was the love. Oh no, I'm sorry. About Juan's girlfriend, how she was the love of his life. The Darbys have their tea, but that's why they play nice with them. After season two, when Ashley brought up Robin's bankruptcies and claimed she was friends with Robin's side chick, that she had video and pictures, they'd been playing nice ever since. Someone in the Real Housewives of Potomac forum said during seasons one or two that Michael admitted to having some of the cast members followed by a private investigator on camera. Yep, right after he was caught sexually harassing the crew members. This is why most of them changed their tunes about Michael. I couldn't understand why Juan was up Michael's bum. He's just another poor man, basically used basically by a rich man. What sort of man is that? How do you look at yourself in the eye when you're beholdeth to another man? So basically, this is saying that Ashley didn't mention the girl's name, but she mentioned that she knew a girl very well that Juan was currently sleeping with at the time. This is season two, guys. Then, during the reunion, she said that the girl showed her pictures and video. Robin tried to shut it down, but couldn't handle Ashley's mouth. She was like, "Stop spreading rumors." And then Ashley was like, "Well, Robin, it's not gossip or rumors if it's true." I think that was also the reunion where Robin was heard in the mic during the break talking to Charisse about beating Ashley's ass if the cameras weren't around. Wow, I gotta go back to season two because I did not know that. I just cannot believe that because it makes sense. Michael did have money, and I don't know what happened with the cameraman when he touched that cameraman's behind. Okay, there were allegations that Monique did have footage because allegedly it happened in the basement at her house, and she says that she didn't have cameras down there, and a lot of people allege that Monique did that out of friendship between her and Ashley to protect Ashley and to protect Michael. This makes sense if Michael had a private investigator following any of the cast after he was accused of that, because he would have had dirt on all of them. He would have, maybe he had dirt on Juan, and that's why Juan was kissing Michael's ass the last time we saw them together. Do you guys remember? They were drinking at the bar, they were hee-heeing and ha-haing. Remember? And Michael kept alluding that he knew something about Juan, but he never told us exactly what it was. Do you guys remember that? This makes sense. Michael had those people followed. Yep. Sorry, I'm just reading this. About Jamal, about he was slammed by the IRS in 2008 to pay back around 250, but Giselle shouldn't be affected because it was after their divorce. Shout out to Giselle for having fully paid off home and the only with good financial standing. Her second mortgage was probably a cash out refinance of the equity for a full renovation. Very smart move. That doesn't really make sense. The girlfriend is this Chris Sanchez, right? Question mark. What do you know about her, like her age and work? That's old juicy news about Juan Dixon and his former girlfriend, Chris Sanchez. After reading this, I know Robyn is a short bus Susie for taking Juan back. Now I see why he uses Robyn as a crutch. College Park. Juan Dixon couldn't help but feel a bit nostalgic as he sat in a red Comcast Center seat late last month. The men's basketball icon had spent about 20 minutes discussing life after College Park. He had touched upon a failed drug test, the ups and downs of playing abroad, and the NBA comeback attempted that ultimately landed him alongside the newest generation of Terps. He then paused. A slight smile began to form on the 34-year-old shooting guard's face as he glanced down at the rafters above him. That's possible, Dixon said as he pointed to the 2002 National Championship banner. The reality is nobody can make it to the NBA, but that banner, that's possible. Everybody on the team just has to know their role. Much has changed for Dixon since he cemented his place in the Terps' history as the first and so far only player to lead his Hoops teammates to national title. He has two young sons and Corey and Carter. He is divorced now and shares his days with a woman he calls the love of his life. He is no longer the immature 23-year-old who often took his fame and talents for granted. This is coming from Chris Sanchez's book. Let me continue what she says. This lady wrote a book, basically, guys, after dating Dixon. After 8 years in the NBA career and the European voyage that spanned three professions, Dixon returned to College Park, humbled and motivated. He is training daily with the Terps staff in hopes of restarting his NBA career using the untapped potential he believes still remaining in his 6'3" frame. He's different now, says Chris Sanchez, Dixon's longtime girlfriend and sole support system during his more than 2-year trek through Europe. Quote, you can see it in his eyes, in the way he goes after his business. He really wants it. Getting to the point was no easy feat. He had to experience a rash of setbacks. Only then, Dixon said, could he fully appreciate the game and everything it has meant to his life. The first blow arrived in 2009. Desperate for someone to help him navigate foreign waters, Dixon asked friends and relatives to make the move. They had families and jobs and they couldn't leave behind. So Dixon asked Sanchez, who he had only met a few times earlier and had an adolescent son of her own. After careful consideration, Sanchez left her job running 2 restaurants and trekked overseas with Dixon. Quote, you would think that because he's Juan Dixon, he has a lot of support and people, which he does, but on the same token, he's a loner. I wasn't going to leave him by himself. She goes on to say Greece was trying the valet parking and the gourmet buffets Dixon had grown accustomed to after more than a half of a decade in the NBA were nowhere to be found. Opposing fans threw firecrackers at him during games. Security was minimal. The coach didn't run an offense Dixon felt fit his skill set. So Dixon left a couple of months. He flew back to Baltimore with Sanchez. A week later, his agent called. A Spanish team was interested in his service. At first, life in Malahag felt like a dream. The team provided them an apartment overlooking the Mediterranean Sea. Dixon emerged as a European star, average of about 18 points per game. The couple went on regular excursions through the quaint neighboring towns. It wasn't the NBA for sure, but it worked. That is, until Dixon received the letter that changed his life. Everything was perfect in Spain, Sanchez said, and then he got suspended. He had allegedly tested positive for steroids 3 months earlier in Greece. It didn't make sense, Dixon said. How could he be suspended for steroids when he said he had never taken steroids before? How convenient. This is all from Sanchez's book, by the way, guys. I'm so glad I found this insert. The only possible answer in his mind that he could fathom, of course, was that one of the vitamins or the over-counter muscle supplements he was taking contained an ingredient that would show up on the test. The year's suspension stripped him of one of the few things in his life that gives him a sense of peace, an outlet from the stresses of adulthood, and that happened to pay his bills. Dixon returned to Maryland and waited out the suspension. He trained daily, desperate to find a way back to the hardwood. When he regained his eligibility in February 2011, his agent's phone rang again. It was a Turkish team. If he had just lost his starting off guard to an injury and wanted to finish out the season with Dixon manning the backcourt, then the nightmare, as Dixon lovingly calls it, began. So he basically Turkey was a nightmare. Um, he felt alone and isolated. Sanchez went with him. Chris Sanchez back in 2011. She writes about them living there, him getting injured. Um, he was away from his 2 to 3 year old sons with little to do besides reflect on his plight. So the kids were little, 2, 3 years old. So Robin and Juan must have not been together for very long after they had their kids. Because if he has a 2 year old and a 3 year old, and this is after his year suspension, that means he would have had a 1 year old and a 2 year old when he left. Some nights he'd fall asleep crying. He'd wake up and Sanchez would be cleaning the apartment, doing the little things to make time more bearable. I don't think I would have been able to survive 3 months in Turkey by myself, Dixon said. And that doesn't make me any less of a man. Sanchez has really just been a bright spot in my life. So, goes on to say. I have been through the storm and I'm still trekking through the storm, Dixon said, but I'm working hard every day. Dixon slaps his alarm at 5:45 every weekday morning, making his 45-minute drive into Baltimore where he arrives at the Comcast Center at 7. He then begins physical therapy with somebody from there. He does drills. Um, then during his 5 hour stretch each day, he's trying to get back in the NBA. Let me see here. She writes all about everything. Wow. I'm trying to think what year The Real Housewives of Potomac came out. Hold on 1 second, guys. Sorry. You guys know I start deep diving and I can't stop. Let's see. Real Housewives of Potomac. Um, first year. 2016. Does that sound right, guys? The original release was January to April of 2016. This was 2011 when she's what Chris Sanchez, Juan's girlfriend, is talking about. Let's see when she wrote the book. It's so wild. I'm surprised. Let me see what I can find out here, guys. Hold on 1 second. This one is an article. Um, let's see here. I mean, there's so much on these guys because of everything and all of the rumors. It's hard to um, find. I'm surprised. Okay, so after being married for approximately 7 years, the couple divorced in 2012. So that doesn't help our timeline. That doesn't even make any sense. That doesn't make sense, does it? I mean, he was in Europe in 2010 and 11, correct? Isn't that what we just read? Let me go back and try to find the title of this damn book. Because obviously, when it's published, what book did Chris Sanchez? She must have wrote it about Juan Dixon. Yeah, she wrote the book about him. Oh shit, that's not nice. Okay, it was called The Diamondback, and it came out in 2012. So they get divorced in 2012, the year that the Diamondback book is published, but obviously it would have been written from their time together the several years prior. Oh, wow. I wonder if they really even got divorced in 2012 because that's crazy. Let me see if I can find it. Find a little bit more information, guys. I'm trying. Sorry, I know you're all waiting patiently, but that's what it's looking like, guys. It just really, really looks like the fact that they got divorced in 2012, but he had already been living overseas doing European basketball and then failed an alleged drug test, came home in 2011 and waited out a year's suspension and then went back. Everyone is quoting the article that she wrote. I don't know if it was an article or book, but it's very long insert on him. And again, this would have been on their time together, the time that they spent together. This article is from 2012, so a year to publish the book? How long does it take to publish and write a book? Let's hypothetically say it's 6 months, which is a really short time frame. Okay, because if it wasn't a book, maybe it was a short story, whatever. Let's just say 6 months. That would put us in 2011, and then it would have been written on their time together. So say they were together for a year and a half, a year maybe. She lived in Turkey and in Spain. Well, they lived in Spain. He violated. He spent a year off, and then they went to Turkey. So 2010? It sounds like right around the time Robyn had her second kid. Okay, he wouldn't regain his eligibility until February 2011, so he must have got suspended in February 2010. So at least we know from several months before that, February of 2010, he was with somebody else. That's crazy. Guys, I'm going to do some more digging on this. I'm not going to keep you guys on here while I keep digging because you know how I get. But I want to know what you guys think. Make sure that you comment, like, subscribe. Let me know what your thoughts and opinions are. Are you shocked about this timeline between Robyn and Juan? Because it very much sounded to me like they were together while their kids were little and then broke up. But I guess their kids would have, I mean, they were little when they were together on the show, but they really must have just gotten back together when they got on the show. What year? 2016, right? Is when the show started. So it would have filmed in 2015, correct? Let's say 2015 to 16. No, it came out in January of 2016. It ran from January to April. So they would have had to either have filmed from January to like June in 2015 to give them 6 months for it to come out. Anyway, guys, it's really close to that timeline of Mr. Juan Dixon being with this other woman, Chris, because he's reinstated in 2012, and then they go on to be together because she goes to Turkey with him, and he hates it, I think. So I don't know if that was before or after that. Anyway, guys, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, turn those notifications on. Let me know what you're thinking about Juan Dixon, and if you've seen Georgio's reports about the woman who is coming forward. All right, guys, have a great day.